This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, so good evening, everyone. This is Sayyid Arbaz taking a session on ear. So, otology. This is one of the specialty that we have, otorhinolaryngology. Yes, now today we'll be seeing one of the very important sense, one of the 5 senses that are very, very important for human being, without which he'll not be able to enjoy the life and do the functions of the life properly. It is none other than the hearing. Yes, so hearing, we have sense organ, the ear. Main functions of the ear, we all know, is hearing and balance. Hearing by your one structure of the inner ear known as the cochlea. Inside the cochlea, you have the main structure called as the organ of Corti. Yes, this is the structure for hearing. And what is the structure for balance? This is your vestibular apparatus. Yes, we all know this, needless to say. Now, people were telling that please teach conceptual topics in the beginning and less conceptual topics at the end, because in the beginning we are fresh and so we can grasp easily. So I'm thinking I'll start first with the hearing tests that we have for practical. It is very important, very important for the practical, also for the theory examinations, and also for the viva examinations that we have. Now, first of all, let us see the ear, anatomy of the ear, not in detail, just the pathway of the air, pathway of the sound that we are discussing. So anyone is speaking from here, so it is going to travel. What is the pathway that it will take? So this is your external. This is, what is this? This is our pinna. We all know this. This is our external auditory canal. We all know this. Okay. Then we will have something known as the tympanic membrane, guys. Tympanic membrane. Then what we'll have the middle ear over here. We all know this. Yes. Now what we'll have in the middle ear are ossicles. Yes, are ossicles. One more important part of the middle ear that we'll be having, which is not involved in the pathway of the air, but is involved in maintaining the pressure inside the middle ear. What is that? May I know in the chat box what is that? These nursery questions I'm asking, you should be able to answer. Please answer in the chat box. Then we'll have something known as the inner ear. After this, we'll see in model how is this going to look. Where is the middle ear situated actually in the 3D model we are going to see. Then we'll come back here and we'll see each of the diseases that can cause that can be associated with these structures. Okay, what are the diseases of the pinna? What are the just names and what it is causing? The pathology I'm telling. Okay, pinna, external auditory canal, tympanic membrane, ossicles. Okay, what is the structure? Do I have any answer over here? Okay,
they are telling eustachian tube.
Yes, everyone knows that it is the eustachian tube. It is the pharyngotympanic tube or the eustachian tube. Now, middle ear is over. Now we have the inner ear. So we'll have the oval window and the round window. Everyone, through the oval window, we'll be having vibration sending into the vestibular apparatus. Yes, from the vestibular apparatus into the cochlea. This is the cochlea. The cochlea is rounded around a structure known as modulus. We'll see the anatomy in detail in some time, but I'm telling you what is the pathway of the air it is going to follow. Yes. Now what will happen? Here what will be there? Your organ of Corti. In the organ of Corti, what will be there? Your hair cells will be there. So I am writing over here, this is organ of Corti. Yes. In organ of Corti, what are the main sensory organs? Your hair cells. So it will not be an exaggeration if I say hair cells are the actual sensory organ. Your actual ear is nothing but your hair cells inside the cochlea. Okay, organ of Corti. It would not be wrong. But for the traveling, for the conduction of the sound, this entire thing must be patent. Okay, so these all from the pinna till the what is this? Oval window. Till the oval window, this is known as conduction pathway. Okay, any pathology in the conduction pathway is going to lead to conductive hearing loss, CHL. Okay, so now next, what is there? Your sensory pathway. Sensory, this is not sensory pathway but the sensory organ that we have. This is the sensory organ for our sensory organ for our balance. Okay, yes, then this is our sensory organ for our hearing. So any pathology in this is going to lead to sensory hearing loss, SNHL. Yes, from hair cells will arise our nerve which will take the sensations to the brainstem, to the cochlear nuclei, which we are going to discuss the pathway, and then to the auditory cortex via the geniculate bodies, medial geniculate body and all. We'll see what is there. So this is the nerve that we have. This is the nerve. Which nerve, guys? Which nerve is it? The vestibulocochlear nerve, or the 8th nerve. So if there is any pathology in the 8th nerve, that is known as the neural hearing loss. So together, sensory neural hearing loss, we are calling it as sensory, and neural, we are calling it as SNHL, sensory neural hearing loss. I hope this is clear. What I told till now, the pathway which the sound is taking to stimulate the hair cells, and so that our sound is interpreted inside the brain. This is the pathway for air conduction. Through the air it is coming through the external auditory canal. Now all these should be patent. External auditory canal should be patent. Tympanic membrane should be vibrating. Now here the ossicles which are there, they should also be patent. And here the foot plate of stapes which is there, it should also be mobile. Then if any pathology over here that is leading to conductive hearing loss, then what should be patent? Your oval window should be good. Yes, there should not be any pathology over here. Then your hair cells should be nice, and the perilymph, endolymph, everything should be nice over here. So this was all the pathway for air conduction. Now what is bone conduction? There is something known as bone conduction also. Let us see what is bone conduction now. Bone conduction is nothing but, if this, for example, this is the face, this is the neck, this is the ear. Now if we keep one tuning fork over here, the vibrations are directly going to stimulate your organ of Corti in the cochlea. This entire conducting pathway is bypassed in bone conduction. So bone conduction is directly going to stimulate what? Your cochlea, your organ of Corti hair cells. Air conduction is going to travel through all along this pathway, your conductive pathway. So for bone conduction, this is good. Now I would like to clarify one thing over here. Is air conduction better or bone conduction better? What do I mean by better? Is air conduction heard better or bone conduction heard better? Yes, I have already told here, air conduction is greater than bone conduction. That means air conduction is better than bone conduction in hearing. Why is air conduction better than bone conduction? We may be thinking for air conduction, it has to travel all along this pathway, right from here to here. So this long pathway is there. For bone conduction, only it has to go from here. Why isn't bone conduction more better than the air conduction? Because we have something known as the middle ear over here. Now what is the mechanism, what is the function of the middle ear? Apart from acting as a conducting pathway, guys, which I mentioned over here, it is also acting as an organ for amplification, guys. What is amplification? I will tell you. This is a 5 marks question for you. What is amplification of sound? Where it is occurring? This is occurring inside the middle ear, guys, inside the middle ear. So amplification of sound is occurring inside the middle ear. Yes. How it is occurring and what does it mean? Amplification means increasing the loudness. Now how it is happening? So we have seen this entire conducting pathway. So first hit structure in the conduction of sound by air conduction, we are talking air conduction. First hit structure is your tympanic membrane. Now what is the area of the tympanic membrane? this much big area is of the tympanic membrane. To be accurate, it is 55 millimeters square is the tympanic membrane area. So this is the area of the tympanic membrane. Now here is the handle of our malleus, here is our incus, and here is our the foot plate. Here is the stapes. This is the foot plate of stapes. This is the entire middle ear, and here is the oval window. This is the round window. From the oval window, this is going to stimulate our inner ear. So compare the area of the tympanic membrane. This is a so much big structure, and malleus is a small structure. Chintu sa structure hai, chota chota. Okay. Now from physics, you all are in first year, we are in third year, so you must be more fresh with physics. So what is the formula for pressure? Can I ask? Pressure. What is the formula for pressure? What is the formula for pressure? एक साल भी नहीं हुआ शायद ना physics this thing इंटर खत्म हो के.
F by A. They are telling F by A. Force per unit area.
Yes, force per unit area. Force per unit area. If I see the force formula, force is not force is nothing but pressure into area. So I can say force is directly proportional to area. Force is directly proportional to area. If area is more, the force imparted will be more. Force imparted will be more. My area of tympanic membrane is more compared to the area of my malleus or ossicular chain, malleus, incus, and stapes. So any sound which is coming from here will vibrate the tympanic membrane, and because of its huge area, the force it will impart to the ossicular chain will be huge, and this will vibrate the ossicles. Yes, this will vibrate the ossicles. So due to the large area difference, guys, large area difference between the tympanic membrane, right here, large area difference. This is known as impedance matching, guys. This principle is known as impedance. What is meant by impedance? Impedance means your obstruction to any pathway. Now there is more obstruction or less obstruction? Less obstruction. So impedance is matching. That means the amplification of sound is taking place because of the vibration of the tympanic membrane of larger area, which is hinting the malleus, incus, and stapes of shorter area, and this oval window is even more shorter. The malleus is longer than the incus. The incus is longer than the stapes, and the stapes foot plate is almost equal size of that of the oval window. So the area is keeping on increasing. So larger area is hitting the smaller area. So our force is going to be imparted from a structure of higher area to a structure of lower area. To make it more clear, if this is big marble, if this is small marble, if I want to hit a small marble with big marble, will it go till here or till here? It will go to till here. So it has more force imparted. Yes. So this is my big marble. This is my small marble. If my small marble will hit my big marble, will it go forward? No. It will not go much forward. Maybe it will just move. So God has created this very, very good mechanism of amplification of sound which is taking place inside the middle ear. I hope what I was talking about the functions of the middle ear and why air conduction is better than bone conduction. Why my air conduction was better than bone conduction? Because in air conduction, it is going through the middle ear. It is not bypassing the middle ear. So we have amplification of sound taking place. So if there is any pathology in the inner ear, okay, my bone conduction will be gone or my air conduction will be gone or both the things will be gone. Please type in the chat box. If there is any
Khushi and Mariam want you to do a quick revision.
quick
And
revision,
some are saying
I will tell quick revision.
bone conduction, some are telling both. Air conduction will go. Only air.
Okay, some are telling both. So I will take one more paper and tell you that. Okay, I will draw one human being here. This is one human being. This is his head. So nevertheless, okay, this is the external ear. This is the pinna. So this is the external auditory canal. In the Bater's part of the temporal bone, we have the middle ear, and here will be our cochlea, vestibular apparatus, semicircular canal, and all. This will be our nerves. Which it will be going in the medulla. It will go ascend up later, and all over high. So all this will be there. So This is our ear auditory pathway. So sound is coming from here. This is the sound. This is the sound. It is coming from here, here, here. It is coming. So I told you middle ear is amplifying the sound. Yes, it is amplifying the sound. So air conduction is better than bone conduction. So what is bone conduction doing? This bone conduction is directly stimulating my organ of Corti in the cochlea. It is bypassing this entire thing. This is my air conduction. This is my bone conduction. So my bone conduction is normal. That means my inner ear has to be normal. Point number one, write down. If bone conduction is normal, my inner ear has to be normal. It is normal. Bone conduction is directly stimulating inner ear. It is bypassing this external ear, middle ear. My air conduction is normal. My air conduction is normal. That means my external ear is normal. External ear is normal. My middle ear is normal. Yes, my middle ear is normal. Is my inner ear normal? Obviously, to hear inner ear should be normal. Otherwise, it will not be audible. So my inner ear is also normal. Inner ear is also normal. So bone conduction is testing only inner ear, but air conduction is testing external ear, middle ear, inner ear. So for if I tell my air conduction is normal, that means my external ear is normal, my middle ear is normal, my inner ear is normal. So for inner ear to be normal, both air conduction and bone conduction has to be normal. Yes. Someone has said both. You are very correct. But if someone has said only this thing, what they have said? Some people, air conduction.
Some have told air, some have told bone conduction.
Bone, okay, bone. If suppose my bone conduction is absent, my bone conduction is not there, that means inner ear is not there, inner ear is dead. So bone conduction to hona hi hona. Let us talk about air conduction now. Yes. So I will tell you, there is some pathology in the ear. There is some pathology in the inner ear. Okay. So I think I should tell this afterwards. Okay, I can tell you. Air conduction is sending amplified sound. So it is sending louder sound than the bone conduction. So if some pathology is there in the inner ear, but the sound in the air conduction is amplified sound compared to bone conduction, so air conduction can be normal in my pathology of inner ear. Were my statements clear, or should I repeat? Yes.
Some are telling you to repeat.
Okay, what I was telling. Okay, I am testing air conduction and bone conduction. Okay, air conduction and bone conduction. Some hair cells are dead. If there are 100 hair cells, 70 hair cells are dead. Only 30 hair cells are there. So which type of hearing loss this is? This is sensory neural hearing loss. Sensory neural hearing diminution also, you can say. Hearing loss also, you can say. So to stimulate this 30 ears, will air conduction be able to do it better, or bone conduction be able to do it better? Yes. May I have the answer in the chat box?
Air
Will
conduction.
air conduction. Why my air conduction is going to stimulate these 30 remaining cells better? Why?
Amplification,
Yes.
it seems.
Because of amplification. Yes. So remember these three statements that I have made. Okay. Inner ear is tested by bone conduction. Yes. Air conduction to be normal, all the three structures to be normal. Yes. So if some part of the inner ear is also normal, if some inner ear is also normal, this air conduction will be normal. For bone conduction to be normal, entire inner ear should be normal. So even if little pathology is there, bone conduction will not be normal. So bone conduction is an accurate measure of your inner ear. So let us keep all these aside. I will now present the 3D anatomy app. Let us just see the pathway that is there. Now, after that, after these things, we are going to discuss the pathologies that can be there in each, just the names and the pathogenesis I will tell, so that you will have an idea what is happening inside the ear. Then we'll come to the tuning fork test. Then we'll come to the middle ear anatomy. Then after the middle ear anatomy, we'll come to the auditory pathway. Inner ear anatomy, if time permits, if you want to listen, if you are interested, I will tell you. Okay. So I will now present the screen. Stop sharing and present the screen. Start now. Yes. Is my screen visible? So I will present the screen
Yes,
now.
sir.
So, so now, guys, see here. This is the human being. Yes, this is the human being. So let us see the human being ka ear. Let us go to the ear now. This is the ear. It is present in the lateral aspect of your skull. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Yes. This is the cartilaginous framework. This entire thing is the cartilaginous framework of your. Now, let us hide this. Yes. Now what is there? This is the external auditory meatus. Meatus means opening. Now, okay, this is the external auditory meatus. Okay. Now let us go to the fossa, cranial fossa. So this is the cranial fossa. Where is this external auditory meatus present? Which bone is this? Which bone is this? Which bone is this? This is your, never needless to say, temporal bone. Temporal bone. But for temporal bone, you have two parts: the squamous part of the temporal bone and the petrous part of the temporal bone. Yes. So this structure, this where my cursor is, that is the petrous part of the temporal bone. And here two nerves are exiting. Yes, two nerves are. Wait, I will zoom. So this is the blue structure which I have highlighted, is the internal auditory meatus. We all know these two structures, these two nerves are, one nerve is entering, one nerve is exiting. Which nerve is entering in which nerve is exiting? The nerve which is motor or mixed will enter, the nerve which is sensory will exit. So what is the sensory nerve? Our vestibulocochlear nerve. Where it is going, can you see? The pontomedullary junction it is going. This is the pons and this is the medulla. So it is going near the pontomedullary junction. Yes. Our seventh nerve is coming from the pontomedullary junction and entering into the internal auditory meatus. Yes, it is now entering this this thing. What is this? Petrous part of the temporal bone. In the petrous part of the temporal bone only we'll have the middle ear. In the petrous part of the temporal bone only we'll have the external ear. The inner ear. So now we are going from the lateral aspect inside the lateral aspect of the middle ear. So okay. So this is the external auditory canal. Yes, we'll go inside. I think we cannot go inside much. So one thing that I wanted to tell you is that if we go inside, we'll come across one structure. What is that? That is the tympanic membrane. If we go more medially, what we'll come across? We will come across the middle ear, the malleus incus and stapes. So I wanted to tell you the orientation. Yes, I think we can see some structures over here. Yes. What is this? Yes, nothing can be seen. Okay. So relations of the middle ear and all we will see. Don't worry, we will see. We will see after we do the anatomy of the middle ear. We will see. Yes. If I want to show you the eustachian tube, I can show you over here. I will show you over here. Wait. Yes, this is the eustachian tube, guys. This is the middle ear. This is the, I think this is the petrous part of the temporal bone. Where my cursor is, this is the petrous part of the temporal bone, and from where this eustachian tube is arising, that is the anterior wall of the middle ear. Anterior wall of the middle ear. From anterior wall, what is one of the opening? Eustachian tube opening. Where it is going? In the nasopharynx, behind your inferior turbinate, 2 centimeters behind the inferior turbinate, we have the opening of your eustachian tube. This is the eustachian tube. Okay, this is the middle ear. This is the anterior part of the middle ear. You'll have internal carotid artery also there. We will see afterwards. No need to worry. Okay, we will close this now. We will close this. One important thing that I wanted to tell you is orientation. Whenever I tell you from now we are going from lateral to medial, imagine we are going from here to here, lateral to medial. So that was the thing. Okay. Now let us come back to our camera. Yes. Is my camera visible?
Arbaz, can you move your book a bit upward?
Book. मतलब You want the camera to be
paper,
nearer,
paper.
away from the pitch? Okay, I'll see.
No.
Because it's because of blur.
Yeah, now it's fine.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. So okay, now I showed you those that. Okay, now let us see the pathologies associated with ear. Okay, bear with me. In 10 more minutes I'll discuss the pathologies, then we'll go with another half an hour. We'll discuss the not half an hour, 15 minutes we'll discuss the tuning fork test. Okay, I'll give you one idea. In practical, if you are given 10 marks practical question, what the tuning fork tests are, do the tuning forks. Okay, you'll be given a case. I'll tell you, simulate everything over here. Okay, what you're going to do, how will the patient present, how will you come to a diagnosis, what are the vital questions, we're all going to be discussed. So first we'll know the pathology, because I know we are reading physiology, I know we are reading anatomy, which is the normal thing. We are not reading pathology, but this anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, their importance is only when we apply them to the medicine, the pathology, the other clinical subjects. So these the importance of these non-clinical subjects that we read in the first year are only when we are able to apply them to the clinics. Okay, these are our basic helping models. So let us apply now. So what is the complaint in ear? What are the complaints? In every organ will be having complaint. In abdomen, what is the most important complaint? Abdominal pain. In eye, what is most important complaint? Vision loss. I am not able to see. Dikh raha nahi, Dr. Saab. Kanipistaledu. So what is the most important complaint in the other organs? Your right hypochondrium. What is the most important complaint? Right hypochondriac pain. That is your cholecystitis or cholelithiasis. Similarly, in the ear, what is the most important complaint that a patient can complain of? Can I have in the chat box? क्या बोलता patient
Yes,
आके?
someone said ear pain.
Ear pain. No, ear pain. Not ear pain.
Hearing
Yes,
loss.
ear pain is one of hearing loss. सुने नहीं आ रहा डॉक्टर साहब.
Can't hear.
सुने नहीं आ रहा. Yeah. Okay. So ear pain is one of the thing, but main pathology which will be concerning the patient is hearing loss. So almost all ear pains concerning to the pathology of the ear will be associated with hearing loss. If that is referred pain, it will not be associated with hearing loss. Okay. You have several nerves supplying the ear. That is your 5th nerve, that is your 7th nerve, that is your 10th nerve. So all the other structures that these nerves are supplying, if there is any pathology in those structures, for example, if there is any pathology in the pharynx, so the referred pain can be through the our glossopharyngeal nerve. It can be seen in the middle ear. It can be felt in the middle ear. So that is referred pain. Without any pathology in the middle ear, we are in the ear we are having the pain. So that is one of the referred pain concept. Let us forget that. So most important thing is hearing loss, guys. Hearing loss. Now imagine you are sitting in the clinic. Okay, you are sitting in the clinic. Patient came with hearing loss. Imagine patient came with hearing loss. Now what you will do? What you will do? You will first know whether it is all hearing losses in the world. All hearing losses can be classified in just two things. Whether it is a conductive hearing loss, whether it is a sensory neural hearing loss. In sensory, we have two things. Because of sensory, because of neural. Okay. Now, let us write the structure and their pathologies. And is it falling in the conductive hearing loss category or sensory hearing loss, sensory neural hearing loss category? So first most important thing is pinna. Pinna. Now, what are the pathologies of the pinna that we can have? The pathologies of the pinna. There is malformed pinna, congenital malformation of the pinna. Yes, absent pinna, anosmia bolte usko, absent pinna. Yes. What will happen if those both things are there? Malformed pinna. Sounds from the air conduction cannot be channeled towards the external auditory canal. This is our external auditory canal. Yes. So this is first most important thing that we'll be having. This is most commonly presented by children. And what is the treatment? You have to reconstruct it with the help of cartilage. After the age of 6 months, you have to reconstruct. Which cartilage you will be able to okay? Now, what is the next most important thing in the conduction? External auditory canal. Now, there are 2-3 pathologies in the external auditory canal. What is that? All are obstructive pathologies. Obstructive pathologies. What is obstruction? What is obstructing? One thing is foreign body. बच्चे खेल लेते कुछ भी डाल लिए, okay, ear में, okay, they have inserted some structure inside the ear. So first most important pathology of the external auditory canal is foreign body impaction. Foreign body impaction. Now this foreign body can be organic or inorganic. Matlab they can be something related to a seed. Okay, peanut. It can be a peanut, or most important thing is peanut. Okay, inorganic mein battery. It can be a battery, or inorganic we can be an insect. Insect chalega inside the ear. Insect. So what is the treatment for this? Treatment for this: remove, immediately remove, and the hearing loss will be gone. Here also the complaint will be hearing loss. Here also the complaint is hearing loss. Okay, external auditory canal. Now what is there after the external auditory canal? What is there? You have the tympanic membrane. You have the tympanic membrane. Now what is the function? Okay, external only I told foreign body, no other things I have to tell. So there are ceruminous glands over here, so there will be wax impaction. So second important thing over here is wax impaction. Wax, okay, this is wax. So how will you remove the wax? How will you, if someone has come, okay, first year में MBBS पढ़ रहा बच्चा, अरे कान में सुनाई नहीं दे रहा, वो जम गया शायद, wax जम गया शायद बोल के बोलते relatives आके. So what you will do? They will tell put hydrogen peroxide, put your water. So never put water. Don't put water. Why? Because wax is a hydrophilic substance, so it will absorb water, it will swell more and cause even more obstruction. So what you should tell? So there is one fluid that is made up of some chemicals. Okay, hydrogen peroxide is one of the chemical, but pure hydrogen peroxide you should not put in the ear, because that will cause dissolution of the wax. It will cause, but that is harmful to the ear, doctors say. So what you should do? What you should say to them: go to the ENT doctor and get your wax cleared. Don't use water, oil, tel, khopre ka tel, nariyal ka tel, mausambi ka tel. All you should not use. Okay, you should go to the ENT doctor. They will use a fluid. That name of the fluid I'm forgetting. If some of the panelists remember, please tell. So next, what is next?
It DVAX? Achha, Arbaz,
no, the composition of. Okay. Yes.
No, don't use Hindi.
Okay. I will not use. Okay. So what is there? Yes, wax we have discussed. Now what will be there? Inflammation inside this. Inflammation, any inflammation will cause dollar, Calor, Ruber, and loss of function. Yes. So dollar will be there. Dollar means swelling. So swelling is there because of swelling in the external auditory canal. We are not able to hear. So swelling, pain will be associated here. Konki pain bole na, otalgia, pain will be associated with this swelling. So one more important inflammation is your furuncle. Furuncle will be only in the external ear. Why only external ear? What is furuncle? Inflammation of the sweat hair follicle is called as furuncle. So furuncle will be there only in your external ear, because hair is found only in your external ear. So if there is an inflammation and furunculosis, furunculitis, this will be there. Okay, hearing loss will be there, and that will be associated with pain. So pain will be there. So how you will treat that? Anti-inflammatory NSAIDs you will give, and also what you will give? Anti-inflammatory drugs also you will give. Anti-inflammatory, and to decrease inflammation, the local cotton water you will also do that. Yes. Now tympanic membrane pathologies we will see. Okay, what are the pathologies of the tympanic membrane? And one more pathology in the external auditory canal will be congenital atresia. Need not to discuss. Tympanic membrane. Yes, tympanic membrane. What is the function of tympanic membrane? It is like it should vibrate like this. So in the external auditory canal, obstructive pathologies will be there. In the tympanic membrane, there will be limitation. Any obstruction, any this thing of the tympanic membrane disease will cause limitation of movement of the tympanic membrane. Yes, movement of the tympanic membrane. So what are the conditions of the tympanic membrane? Your inflammation, myringitis. I told you, right? In applied anatomy, if you're not remembering anything, write itis to its name. That will become one of your applied anatomy. Okay, that is one of the trick. And write OMA to that name. That will become one of the applied anatomy. Myringitis. Okay. So you can write OMA also. In of this, I don't think there is tumor. So nevertheless, we will go to from myringitis. Inflammation is there, so there will be limitation of movement and pain in the ear. So this is this is attached. This tympanic membrane is attached by annulus to annulus, your bone. Okay, this is your bone. So this is attached to the bone all around. So if there is sclerosis over here, sclerosis means there is collagen deposition over here. So this is known as tympanosclerosis. Tympanosclerosis. Okay. Now somebody has put something inside the ear. So tympanic membrane has now perforated. Perforation of the tympanic membrane will also cause limitation of the movement and hearing loss. So what are the three main important pathologies of this myringotomy? Myringitis, bullous myringitis will be there. So what will be the treatment? Specific treatment will be there, which is beyond the scope of discussion of this particular session. Okay. Well, tympanic membrane perforation, if we diagnose, we have to repair that with some fascia lata or some fascia we take. Okay. Temporalis fascia we take and we reconstruct that. Now coming to the pathologies of the middle ear. Now middle ear middle ear is also acting as a conducting pathway and amplification pathway. So pathologies can be in relation to your ossicles. Yes, in relation to your ossicles and also to your middle ear cavity. Now what are the pathologies in relation to your ossicles? You have ossicular disruption. That means ossicles have disrupted. Why will they be disrupted? Because of some trauma. Ladle kya hai? Boxing. Boxers will have ossicular disruption or ossicular necrosis also. Okay, sometimes. Yes. So ossicles, this was there. Now inside the middle ear, if there is fluid collection, that is known as otitis media. Otitis media. Okay, media means middle ear. Otitis means inflammation. Due to inflammation, there is fluid collection in the middle ear. So this is otitis media in the middle ear. There can be it can be inflammatory, infectious, non-infectious. If it is non-infectious, it is called serous otitis media. Okay, we'll not go into all that. Okay. So pathologies, have you understood what are all the pathologies in the conductive pathway? One last pathology in the conductive pathway is this pathology. What is this? Oval window. To the oval window, what is attached? Your foot plate of Stepes. Now if foot plate of Stepes, likewise like here, tympanic membrane, if it is attached completely, it is known as tympanosclerosis. Now the foot plate of Stepes is attached to the oval window completely, that is known as otosclerosis. It is a genetic condition. Otosclerosis, bilateral conductive hearing loss will be there. Okay, this is otosclerosis. It is attached over here. So all these pathologies that I have discussed with you are coming under the heading of conductive hearing loss. So patient came with hearing loss. How should be the approach? I will tell you, but these can be the conductive hearing losses. Okay. Is it clear? Should I proceed towards the just two pathologies are there in the inner ear? After that, hearing aids we will hearing tests we will discuss. Okay. Now inner ear, what is there? This is the middle ear. This is middle ear, tympanosclerosis and all we discussed. This is the inner.
Repeat otosclerosis, Arbaz.
Otosclerosis, they want me to repeat. Otosclerosis is nothing but this structure of the middle ear we are going to discuss very clearly. There I will tell otosclerosis. Okay, you will understand it better over there. Okay, I will tell that. Okay, now inside the inner ear, this is the inner ear. Yes, this is the vestibular apparatus, this entire thing. Yes, this is the cochlea, hearing apparatus. Yes, here will be the this thing, our hair cells. Yes, wait, this is our this thing. What is this? This is our nerve. This is our brainstem. So sensory neural hearing loss we are discussing. What are the causes of sensory neural hearing loss? Yes, what is there? Any pathology in the hair cells. Hair cells can be destroyed because of loud noise. This is known as noise induced hearing loss. Any old age can also lead to degeneration of the hair cells. That is known as presbycusis. In ear also we have the one pathology. What is that? Presbyopia. That is also seen in old age. Okay, this is presbycusis. Means what is presbycusis? Because of old age, the hair cells are getting degenerated. These are the pathologies of the hair cells. Okay. Now, what is one more pathology? Ototoxicity. What is ototoxicity? Because of certain drugs. Toxicity means because of drugs. The hair cells are destroyed. That is ototoxicity. Now, don't ask me what are the drugs of ototoxic drug, because you will be dealing in that pathology, in the pharmacology. But for your understanding, I will tell you, vancomycin is one of the antibiotic. Your aminoglycosides, streptomycin, gentamicin, kanamycin, amikacin, tobramycin, cesomycin, netilmycin, all these are the aminoglycoside. Okay, that will cause our hearing loss. Your anti-malarial drugs, if used for longer period of time, quinine, okay, your this thing, okay, what is that, Syncona drugs and all, there will anti-malarial drugs will cause ototoxicity, and some anti-cancer drugs like cisplatin, carboplatin, okay, these will cause hearing loss. Okay. Okay, now some diuretics also, like your this thing, loop diuretics and all, needless to discuss. Okay, not required for you, not required. But I told you that these are the drugs which causes ototoxicity. Okay, forget that, okay, so the pathology can be in the hair. One hair. Second, in the fluid. What are the fluid inside the ear? It is the endolymph and the perilymph. So there is overproduction of the fluid is getting overproduced. That is one very, very, very important disease, Meniere's disease, M-I-N-E-R-E-S. With this, you can very confidently attend the ENT postings from second year. Okay, all the people, how many people are there? 73, 74. Okay, how many ever people are there? Yes, these people can very confidently attend the ENT postings, and they can very well answer all these questions. So make this thing, you can impress your professors. Yes, so Meniere's disease means overproduction of the fluid inside the inner ear. So that is causing destruction of the organ of contact. One simple thing you remember in the inner ear. So they will ask you, what are the causes of sensory neural hearing loss? Viva question. So you should tell, ma'am, sensory neural hearing loss can be sensory or neural. So in sensory, it can either be due to hair cell destruction and fluid imbalance, that is eventually leading to hair cell destruction. Hair cell destruction. So what are the hair cell destroying things? Loud noise can destroy, that is known as your noise-induced hearing loss. Old age can destroy, this is known as presbycusis. Our ototoxic drugs like your these things, and fluid, overproduction of fluid in the Meniere's disease. Yes. Yes. Now, what are the pathology of the nerves? The pathology of the nerves can be diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus can cause neuropathy, guys. Yes. Other neuropathies also. What are the other causes of neuropathies? Multiple sclerosis, that is causing demyelination. Yes. Other demyelinating disorders also can cause neuropathy. Yes. But those are less common. All those are less common causes. Yes. Diabetes mellitus can cause. Okay. Now, neural. And one tumor of the this thing. What is tumor of our nerve? Acoustic nerve. What is the tumor? That is called as very, very, very important, acoustic neuroma. This is one of the pathology related to your neurofibromatosis 2. Neurofibromatosis type 2 there will be one disease. There are certain features in that disease. One of the feature is acoustic neuroma. So that will cause nerve pathology. So that will cause hearing loss, neural hearing loss. So if there is stroke in the midbrain also, it can cause, stroke in the medulla and the brainstem also, it can cause. Midbrain, pons medulla, anywhere in the auditory cortex, it can cause hearing loss. So these were all the causes of hearing loss. Not all, but almost all, 90% of the cause. Some diseases here and there will be there, but these are the most common that we come across, and these are the diseases that we have to read in detail once we come up to our ENT. Okay, so I hope this was clear. Anything to be repeated or something? Now freshly we will start with our this thing, tuning fork tests. Not tuning fork tests. First we'll see if patient come with hearing loss, how will you proceed? Now, sitting in your home also, if someone is coming with hearing loss, you will be able to diagnose with the performer I will be going to give you now. I will give you now. Yes.
Arbaz,
Yes.
there are a couple of questions.
Yes.
Yeah, first one, what in the case of decrease in fluid? You said
Decrease
that
in
if
fluid?
the fluid increases, yeah.
Yes, decrease in fluid will also cause our hearing loss. Okay, hearing loss it will cause, but there is no such obvious pathology which decreases the fluid. Okay.
Okay, and this other question, is it swimmer ears or external otitis? Is this because of water remaining in the external acoustic meatus after swimming?
No, swimmer ears is a different thing. Swimmer ear is a different thing. Swimmer ear is your external ear. This is the external ear. External ear inflammation is known as swimmer's ear. Inflammation. That is caused by Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas. Okay, Pseudomonas. And because of swimming, there will be some spicules form. Spicules form. Why there will be? Why will there be? Not because of swimming, but because of deep sea diving. So deep sea divers, cold water will be entering inside the ear to protect the tympanic membrane and the middle ear and stimulation of your vestibular apparatus with this cold water. Whatever inner, what our external ear will be do, what our external ear will do, it will cause some formation of spicules. Okay, this is known as exostosis. Exostosis. This also comes in the swimmer's ear, but main swimmer's ear is external otite, external otitis. Otitis externa it is called. Otitis externa because of Pseudomonas. Okay, but it is most commonly seen in malignant otitis externa, diabetes mellitus ke patient mein dikhta, not in every patient. Yes, yes. So any more doubts?
And they want you to repeat external auditory canal pathology.
External auditory canal pathologies. Okay, quickly I will repeat, not wasting much time because we have to discuss. No. So where is that paper? External auditory canal pathology. Yes. Yes, this is the external auditory canal pathology paper. So pathology can be in the pinna, malformed, absent. These are the two pathologies. External auditory canal, obstructive pathology. What can be the obstruction? It can be a foreign body, it can be an insect, it can be anything, it can be a wax, okay, it can be swelling, okay, swelling because of inflammation, okay, okay, and swimmer's ear and all it, as he said, okay, that also comes under inflammation. Now, what is the pathology of the tympanic membrane? It can be perforation of the tympanic membrane due to trauma. It can be tympanosclerosis and the inflammation of the tympanic membrane called as bullous myringitis. Yes. Then what is the pathologies? Okay, external ear I told. Yes, all these are the pathologies. And one more pathology I forgot to tell you. In the middle ear, I told you pathology of the ossicles. I told you pathology of the middle ear. One more structure you forgot to tell me, that eustachian tube pathology is also going to cause middle ear pathology. If the eustachian tube is blocked, right here, eustachian tube pathology, if eustachian tube is blocked, it will cause retraction of the tympanic membrane. यहाँ पे क्या है? What is the function of eustachian tube? To balance the pressure from inside and outside. So if eustachian tube is blocked, entire air will be absorbed and this tympanic membrane will now get, due to negative pressure, retracted backwards, and due to retraction and due to there will be some inflammation also because of eustachian tube blockade. There will be exudation of the fluid and transudation of the fluid, that will cause fluid fill. So fluid filled over here, fluid filling in the fluid fill in the middle ear, that will cause our this thing. And what is going to block this eustachian tube? Can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? Viva question. Yes, we will now proceed towards our hearing aids. Yes, I will take some 30 seconds break.
It's 7:50, Arbaz.
Okay, okay. We'll be completing in more 20 minutes, I think. 20, yeah, 20 to 30 minutes. Yes, any more doubts there?
Okay, can we use
Sinus
earbuds to clean our
common
ear?
cold.
Can we use earbuds to clean our ear? So you can use earbuds that has to be very mild. So we are going to discuss, okay, I'll discuss now external ear ka anatomy. So this is our external ear, this is our pinna, this is our pinna, this is our external ear. So our external ear is how much centimeters long? It is 24 millimeter long. So it has two parts, a cartilaginous part and a bony part. So cartilaginous part is 1/3, and this is 2/3. 1/3 means 24 ka 1/3 will be 8 millimeters. Okay, 8 millimeters, and 24 ka 2/3 will be 16 millimeters. 16 millimeters. So wax impaction will be till here only. Till here. What is this known as? This is a narrow part, isthmus. So you should not go beyond this part, because you will be puncturing your tympanic membrane, and here you will be puncturing your skin, and epithelial discontinuity you will be causing. So you have to insert the our earbud till here only. So such that only 8 millimeters, 8 to 10 millimeters only you have to insert inside the ear. You should not insert beyond this. Okay. Hope that is clear. External ear anatomy also it is clear. One more thing I will add. External ear anatomy khatam hi ho jata. So what is the lining epithelium? So this is lined by skin. So cartilaginous part is lined by skin. Skin, along with the skin, what you will have, the skin appendages like your hair follicles. So furunculosis you can see only in the external ear, because hair is present only in the external ear. Now what epithelium is being lined in this thing? Skin epithelium only. What is that? Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Yes, stratified squamous non-keratinized. No hair, no hair, no hair. Yes. Now what more I can tell? This thing is very important. The length of the this thing, and direction I can tell. Direction. So why I have drawn like this? Because this is backwards. This is backwards, backwards and laterally. This is forwards and medially. Direction. My direction. Why we have to know the direction? To insert something, to remove any foreign body, and all, we have to know the direction. Hope that clears. External ear anatomy, you write like this. Okay. Yes, I think I can start with the hearing loss now. Yes.
Arbaz, you asked a question and the answer, some of them answered it cold, the pathology associated with the eustachian tube.
What question I asked? Okay, pathology with the station view. What they are telling? Cold. Yes, cold.
Cold, yeah.
One pathology is cold. Yes. Cold means your rhinitis. So rhinitis will cause inflammation in the nasopharynx. So there will be edema around your eustachian tube opening, which is lying just behind your inferior turbinate, 2 centimeters. Yes. So because of that edema, there will be blockade. And one more thing, one more important thing in children. In children, I want to ask. In children, one more important thing. You keep answering, I will tell now. I will tell the hearing loss now. Patient came and telling hearing loss. He's telling that I am having hearing loss. Sune Niara, Dr. Saab. Okay. Now what you will do? First, you have to do whether it is conductive hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss. So first you have to know whether it is conductive hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss. So then, if it is a conductive hearing loss, you will proceed with the test of conducting hearing loss. If it is a sensory neural hearing loss, you will proceed with the test of sensory neural hearing loss. Yes. Now, what you will do if it is a conductive hearing loss, you will know where is the obstruction to the conduction. So you will see all those pathologies. Now, all those pathologies should come in your mind. Now, so to see external auditory canal pathology, that is visible to your naked ear, so no instrument is required. So you have to naked eye examination. Then to see the external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane, what should be there? What should be there? One scope should be there. What is the scope? Otoscope, otoscopy. So second important investigation is, first investigation is here to know whether it is conducting or sensory neural hearing loss. There are 2 investigations to this: tuning fork tests and audiometry. What are these? We are going to discuss, but let us proceed some forward and retrospectively. We will come back. Now, to conductive hearing loss, where is the conduction being blocked? Where is the obstruction? External ear can be seen naked eye. Otoscopy can tell you this thing. What is this? Tympanic membrane and our external auditory canal. Now, middle ear pathology also can cause. So for middle ear, we cannot see, right? We cannot see because tympanic membrane is obstructing. So there is one test. There is one test called tympanometry. Tympanometry. Right now, tympanometry you have to do. Yes. If tympanometry is also not revealing, that means it should reveal. Most probably it should reveal. Then in tympanometry, all the pathologies of the middle ear you can see. Like if it is a eustachian tube blockade or fluid in the middle ear or ossicular disruption or ossicular otosclerosis, okay, or tympanosclerosis. Yes, otoscopy means you can see inflammation, foreign body infection, and all you can see. So based on that you can treat. Based on that you can treat. If he's having say for example foreign body, you can remove. If he's having bullous meningitis, you can give it this thing. If he's having perforation, you can repair. You can tell him come for surgery. So all these are the things that you will do. Only okay, after this sensory neural hearing loss, if hearing loss he came, you did these tests, tuning fork test and audiometry, it came out to be sensory neural hearing loss. Now what you'll do? Will you do this tympanoscopy, otoscopy and all? You may do, but it has clearly shown that it is a sensory neural hearing loss. But you have to do, okay, by protocol you have to do this also. Now what are the specific tests for sensory neural hearing loss? Whether the new hearing loss is in your cochlea, or vestibular apparatus. Vestibular apparatus is not involved in hearing loss, but some vestibular pathologies will cause hearing loss. So you have to examine the vestibular system also. So if the system, if the pathology is in your nerve or in your midbrain. So what are these tests? What are these tests? So I think you need not know this test, but I will tell you. I will tell you these tests. You will have a hair cell in a organ of cochlea ka function. For organ of cochlea ka function, you will have one test known as otoacoustic emission. Otoacoustic emission. What you will do? There will be a one pen-like structure. You should insert that in your ear. Insert that in patient's ear. It will send some vibrations. It will send some vibrations. Those vibrations will stimulate outer head cells. Outer head cell, OHL, outer head cells. Now, after vibration of outer head cells, some reflected back, some sound will be reflected back and will be catched by your this otoacoustic emission instrument. So if it is coming back, that means outer head cell are normal. That means there is no sensory hearing loss. Hearing loss can be neural. Okay, otoacoustic emission is the one which can tell you if it is a sensory hearing loss or a neural hearing loss. Neural hearing loss. I told you how it is done and all. Okay, we'll not go in beyond details. Okay, neural loss, you can do Bera and all. It is there. No need. So let us restrict. So to treat this, we have to first know whether it is conductive or sensory neural. Now, what are the tests that are going to tell us whether it is a conductive hearing loss or a sensory neural hearing loss? Okay, what are the tests? Tuning fork tests and audiometry. Now, what are the tuning fork tests? Okay, I'll take one more paper. I will take one more paper. You also take one fresh paper and write tuning fork test. Now comes your practical wala part. How many tuning fork tests do you have? Weber's test, Rennie's test. First is Rennie's test, Weber's test, Swebak's test.
Arbaz?
Some more tests? Yes. Tell me.
Before we start this, I don't want to disturb you. Please answer that question which you asked, the pathology in children.
Okay, they have not answered?
I think someone answered allergy. Yeah.
They have allergy.
No, it is adenoiditis. Adenoid will bulge and adenoid tonsil is there, Waldier's ring. Yes, this is your Waldier's ring. This is Waldier's ring. What are all the tonsils in the Waldier's ring? Adenoid, okay, palatine tonsil, your lingual tonsil, okay, your nasopharyngeal tonsil. So adenoiditis, if adenoid is bulging, it will cause eustachian tube obstruction, okay, in children. Yes. So children, what will happen is in children, if this adenoid is bulging and causing this block of the ear, they will not be telling because they are not speaking, right? They will not tell. So what will happen? We have to identify this. How? By their facial expressions and all, we have to identify. The parents has to identify that, because if you don't identify, what will happen? This will be blocking, and our middle ear will not be drained. Okay, middle ear pressure will not be there, fluid will be filled, otitis media will be there, but the child will not be telling. Because of that, he will not be able to hear, and because of not hearing, his language centers and his IQ will not be developed. So he will have depressed IQ and depressed learning. So it is very crucial for the development of the child. ENT examination should be done. Okay, periodical ENT examination, and parents should identify that. Actually, parents and teachers can identify that. Yes. Then Rennie's, Weber's, Swebak's are these tests. Absolute bone conduction tests. So hearing loss. Patient came with hearing loss in the left ear. So this is the ear. This is the human being. This is the ear. This is the left ear. This is the right ear. First hearing loss in the left ear is there. He told he is not able to hear. Is it conductive hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss? Sensory hearing loss. We don't know. What we will do? First, we will do Weber's Rennie's test. Now, what is Rennie's test? Can anyone tell me? Should I ask what is Rennie's test? What we are doing in the Rennie's test? Can I ask to just alert you?
Mastoid.
Mastoid. What is mastoid? What is this?
Mastoid process.
I'm not
Mastoid
telling how you
process.
do it. I'm telling what is the purpose of this Rennie's test. We are comparing air conduction and bone conduction. Rennie's test is comparing your air conduction and bone conduction. Is it clear? So how you will do it? How you will do it? You will vibrate a 512 frequency ka tuning fork. Okay. What you will do? You'll vibrate. First, you will keep on the mastoid process. Behind the ear mastoid process, you will keep. After the vibrations are over, the patient will tell, "Nahi sune aa raha, vibrations nahi aa rahe, there are no vibrations." Then you have to remove that tuning fork and keep it beside the ear. Now, ideally, three principles I gave you here. Three principles. What were those three principles? Air conduction is better than bone conduction. So ideally, air conduction should be heard for more time than the bone conduction. After the bone conduction is stopped, even after that, for some more seconds, the air conduction should be heard. Then we can say that air conduction is greater than bone conduction. Is this normal or abnormal? Air conduction greater than bone conduction. It is normal or abnormal? May I have in the chat box? It is normal. It is normal. But what if I say you, it can be abnormal also? It can be abnormal also. I told you the concept, but I was not clear, I suppose. I will tell you here once again. Sensory neural hearing loss will also represent in the form of your normal Rennie's test. Sensory neural hearing also, you have air conduction greater than bone conduction. What this fellow is telling, air conduction should be greater than bone conduction. That is normal. How can sensory neural hearing loss will have air conduction greater than bone conduction? Because I told you, when will sensory neural hearing loss take place? When there is some destruction in the hair cells. Okay, hair cells is there. So if there are 100 hair cells, out of that 70 are destroyed, only 30 are there. But for bone conduction to catch that, all 100 should be there. All 100 should be there. So bone conduction is not normal. That means some pathology is there in the inner ear. But air conduction can be normal, because as the amplified sound is reaching your cochlea, so these remaining 30 cells can catch this amplified sound. So air conduction in sensory neural hearing loss will be greater than bone conduction. Is it clear? Type yes if it is clear.
Yes.
Yes, is it clear? Did you know this
Yes, they are
before?
telling us.
Type yes if you know this, if you have known this before. Type no if you did not.
No. Please repeat once, it seems. No.
Okay. Okay, I will repeat. Yes. What is there? Patient came with hearing loss. So I told you all hearing losses in the world can be divided into, what is that? Conductive hearing loss and sensory neural hearing loss. Yes. So what you'll do this tuning fork test. What were the tests? Tuning fork test and audiometry. Audiometry we are not doing. First we'll do tuning fork test. First tuning test, Rennie's test we are doing. What is Rennie's test? Comparing air conduction with bone conduction. I will tell you how you have to vibrate tuning fork. Keep behind the mastoid process. Patient will be hearing the vibrations. Yes. At some point, after some time, he will stop hearing the vibrations. At that point, you should take that tuning fork away from the mastoid process and bring it beside the ear. Yes. Now what you're testing air conduction. Now this he should be able to hear for longer time. Yes. Now he should be able to hear this. After that, he will stop. So if he is able to hear these after removing from the mastoid process and keeping, that means air conduction is better than bone conduction. Air conduction is better than bone conduction. Yes. Air conduction is better than bone conduction. What inference can I get if air conduction is better than bone conduction? That means normally air conduction should be better than bone conduction, because my amplified sound is reaching there, so my ear is normal, my patient ear is normal, so I should send that patient to home. Will you do that? No, you should not do that. You should not do that. Why? Because sensory neural hearing loss will also present with air conduction greater than bone conduction. Why? Because this air conduction is sending amplified sound. Even if there is some pathology in the inner ear, this amplified sound can stimulate that inner ear, some remaining amount of hair cells that are remaining. So in sensory neural hearing loss also you will get air conduction greater than bone conduction. So forget all. Now remember, now see, Rennie's test we have done. We got normal Rennie's test. This is known as normal Rennie's test. But don't be in an impression means normal. No. So in the same way, for the other ear also you have to do. Other ear. Okay. You have done for other ear. Is it getting overwhelming, or should I continue? I want to ask. Type in the chat box.
Continue. Continue.
Okay.
They
I
want
will
you to
continue.
continue.
Okay, I will continue. Other year also I am testing the same things. Yes, air conduction is greater than bone conduction. I got. Now, how should I differentiate? Was my patient normal, or was he having sensorineural hearing loss? Now I will do my second test. What is that test? Weber's test. Weber's test. Weber's test. Now what I am doing in my Weber's test, I will do here. So I will do here. Whether it is normal, you did Rennie's, right? Rennie's. It was normal or sensorineural hearing loss. Sensorineural, other year also you did. So it was two possibilities. Now how to differentiate? You do second test. What is that second test? Second test is Weber's test. Weber's test. Now what you are doing in this Weber's test? Weber's test, what you are doing? This is the human being. This is the human being. Now Weber's test tests the lateralization of the sound. Lateralization of the sound. What do I mean by lateralization? This is the tuning fork. This is the tuning fork. So tuning fork will vibrate. It will vibrate. So here we are not testing air conduction. Here we tested air conduction and bone conduction. Air conduction and bone conduction. Air conduction was greater than bone conduction. Then we were doing this. Okay. Now in Weber's here we are testing what we are testing only bone conduction by keeping the tuning fork on the vertex of the skull. What is vertex? Highest point on the skull. Any highest point you keep. Okay. Vibrate the tuning fork. Keep on the vertex. Now normal, what should be there? I am discussing normal in everything. Normal Rennie's test, what should be there? I told you it should be air conduction greater than bone conduction. What should be the normal Weber's test? There should be no lateralization. What do I mean by no lateralization? Both the ears should be able to sense these vibrations simultaneously and with same loudness. If one of my ear is able to hear this greater than the other ear, that means there is some pathology in this ear, or there can be some pathology in this ear. Now what can be the pathology? Now I will tell you whatever patient came with hearing loss in which ear? Left ear. Okay, hearing loss, he came with left ear. Now Weber's test we did Rennie's test. It was we have to differentiate whether it is normal or hearing loss. Now we did Weber's test. Now there is lateralization towards this ear. Lateralization towards lateralization towards my right ear. Does that mean my left ear is hearing less, or my right ear is hearing more? Both can be the possibilities. That means my inner ear is not working. My bone conduction is testing my inner ear only now. Okay, so my inner ear is not working here, inner ear is not working here, or there is conductive hearing loss over here. If conductive hearing loss is there will be increased sound towards that same ear. If I have conductive hearing loss over here, there will be lateralization towards this ear. That means there will be increased sound over here. Why there will be lateralization towards this ear? Because some foreign body or something which is obstructing, it will not allow other noise, air, okay, pankhe ki hawa, wo ye sab nahi aata idhar. So there will be no noise. Okay. Foreign noise will not be there. So whatever sound will be there, that will only be coming to your external ear. Yes. So there will be loud noise. Yes. So in my conductive hearing loss, same ear will be having loud noise. Yes. So if my lateralization is towards this ear, that means my conductive hearing loss is there in this ear, or this ear is having a sensorineural hearing loss. So what can be, how do I know whether I have conductive pathology in this ear or sensorineural pathology in this ear? How will I come to know? Can I have in the chat box? How will I come to know? Yes, how will I come to know?
No response. Rennie's test.
Yes, to look at the Rennie's test. You can test the Rennie's test. Rennie's test was telling what it was telling. Air conduction greater than bone conduction. If it would have been a conductive hearing loss in the other ear, there should be a bone conduction greater than air conduction. Simultaneously, we are doing the other ear also, right? Simultaneously, doing other ear. So in the other ear, if bone conduction is greater than air conduction, there can be conductive hearing pathology. But in other ear also same Rennie's test we got. What we got? Air conduction greater than bone conduction. That means there is either normal ear or sensory neural hearing loss in this ear also. So one more hint is our patient came with hearing loss in this ear. So pathology is in this ear. So this is sensory neural hearing loss in this ear. I hope this is clear. If I was clear, type yes. Yes.
Yes. Can you repeat right ear? It seems.
They want to
Yeah.
repeat.
Majority are saying yes.
If majority is yes, I will proceed, because if I keep on repeating, that will be okay. I'll repeat once. Where I was, yeah. So we did Rennie's test. Rennie's test, air conduction was greater than bone conduction. So air conduction greater than bone conduction means amplified sound is reaching. So that can be normal ear. So, or it can be sensory neural hearing loss because my amplified sound is reaching. Okay. Now how do I differentiate by Weber's test? I keep here in the vertex of the skull. If there is lateralization, I have to see where the lateralization is. If the lateralization towards the opposite side with positive Rennie's, that means my pathology is there in this ear. What pathology? Sensory neural pathology is there in the left ear. Okay, yes. Conductive hearing loss, same performer will be going to draw for conductive hearing loss also, don't worry. Okay, at the other ear, what will be there? Other ear, as there is no pathology in the other ear, there will be no lateralization. Normal, what should be there? I told you no lateralization should be there. Okay, if in this ear, if there was no lateralization, positive Rennie's with no lateralization. What does this mean? Positive Rennie's with no lateralization. What does this mean? Air conduction greater than bone conduction with no lateralization. What does this mean?
No responses. Normal air conduction. Normal.
See this. What is this? Normal Rennie's with no lateralization. Normal Rennie's with, it can be normal either sensory neural hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss. There should be lateralization. If there is no lateralization, that should have been normal. Yes. No confusing much. I will skip to other tests. Sweback's test. Now, with Rennie's, air conduction greater than bone conduction. Yes, either normal or sensory neural hearing loss. Okay. Now we did Weber's. Weber's showed lateralization towards the opposite side. That means there is sensory neural hearing loss in the left ear. Sensory neural hearing loss. Now you may tell. Now we have come to the diagnosis. What was our aim with this? Aim kya tha? Kahan hai wo mera test? Yes. Hearing loss aaya. What was our aim of these tests? To know whether it is conductive or sensory neural. Now we have successfully come to the conclusion of sensory neural or conductive hearing loss. Yes. So we should stop the test over here or proceed with other tests. Ideally, other tests we have to do for confirmation only. For confirmation. So what are the other tests? Sweback's test and absolute bone conduction test. What is absolute bone conduction test? Absolute bone conduction test is these we are comparing with the examiner. So this is the person and this is you, doctor. So you are carrying this tuning fork. They are carrying this tuning fork. So what you will do? You have to close both your tragus. You have to close both your tragus. Tragus means the cartilage of your external ear. You have to close. That means you have to close the ear. Patient ko bhi bolo close kar do ear. You also close your ears. Both of you close your ears. What you do then? Compare the bone conduction. So now, if he has sensory neural hearing loss, my patient will have shortened bone conduction or normal bone conduction, same bone conduction as my examiner. My bone conduction is testing my inner ear. Sensory neural hearing loss means pathology of inner ear. We are comparing with patient and examiner. I have put the bone, this tuning fork on the skull. Now, my patient is having sensory neural hearing loss, and I am not having any hearing loss. So my patient ka bone conduction will be same as of normally it should be same. But he is having sensory neural hearing loss. Will he have same as of that of the examiner or decreased duration? Decreased, yes. Decreased examiner, yes. decrease. So this is just confirming. This is just confirming. Absolute bone conduction decrease. Swabax test also same, but here you are not closing the tragus. You are doing so all those things are there. Everything is over. Yes, over. Now just quickly we will see about the conductive hearing loss. Patient came with hearing loss. Patient came with hearing loss. So you have to know whether it is conductive hearing loss or sensorineural hearing loss. You have done the sensorineural hearing loss. Yes, over. This is another patient. This is another patient, not the same patient. Another patient. Yes. Now what we have to do? We have to do tuning folk test. Tuning folk test. First test what you will do? Same kahani I am repeating. Same kahani. Rennie's test I will do. Now what will be if my patient is now having the pathology in my right ear, conductive pathology is there. Conductive pathology is there. Rennie's test means I am comparing the air conduction with bone conduction. So air conduction with bone conduction I am telling, comparing. So normally my air conduction should be greater than bone conduction. Now here will the air conduction be more or bone conduction will be more? Tell. Bone conduction will
Bone
be
conduction.
greater than air conduction. Yes. Now Rennie's have come negative. Negative Rennie's means bone conduction greater than air conduction. Now what can be the possibilities? Only one possibility. Why my bone conduction is more? Because my some pathology is more, or why my air conduction is less? Because some pathology is obstructing, that's my air conduction is less. So that can be your conductive hearing loss. But in ENT if you come, I don't want to confuse you over here, but sudden severe sensory neural hearing loss is one of the pathology that is going to present like this. But don't remember this, because this is beyond the scope of the discussion at this level. You will unnecessarily be thinking about this and confusing yourself. So I don't want you to remember this. Remember this. So at your level, if bone conduction is greater than air conduction, that means conductive hearing loss in the same ear. Conductive hearing loss in the same ear. But again, what you have to do? You have to do Weber's test. Weber's test, where will be the lateralization? Towards the same ear, there will be no lateralization, or the lateralization will be towards the opposite ear.
They're telling same
Yes,
ear.
lateralization will be towards the same ear. Yes, very good. Very good. Lateralization will be towards the same ear. If my lateralization is towards ear, that means conductive hearing loss over here, bone conduction is better over here, or my bone conduction is less over here because of sensory neural hearing loss. How will you differentiate? How will you differentiate? Because Rennie's test we already did. So with negative Rennie's, sensory neural hearing loss will not be there. Okay, this will be there, but don't think. Okay, I hope this is clear. And the patient is complaining of pathology in this year. So with that also you can come to a hint that there is conductive hearing loss in this year. So quickly I'll summarize. Here also you can do Swabax test ABC. Absolute bone conduction means you are comparing by closed tragus with the what is it? Examiner. And Swabax test. In absolute bone conduction, you are comparing, right? So patient is closing the ear. Doctor is also closing the ear. So compare the bone conduction. So patient will hear for more duration, or examiner same as the examiner. Type.
More. Doctor, more.
Everyone will type more. Everyone will type more. I knew, but more is in Swabac test because we are not closing the ear. We are not closing the ear in Swabac, but here we are closing. That means now conductive deafness.
Others, there's some
Someone has
background disturbance.
no. It is not from my side. Okay, it is not there now. After this, I'll show you a model may relations also. Middle ear could not be done. What can we do? We'll do middle ear in some other session because this was important. Or if you are able to stay, we'll do it. Yes, absolute bone conduction. We are closing both the ears. Matlab patient ka bhi ear we are closing, examiner ka bhi ear we are closing. So both are conductive deaf now. Both are conductive deaf. So both should have same absolute bone conduction. But Swabac test we are not closing both of them ears. So here it will be lengthened. Our bone conduction will be lengthened. So don't confuse with all this. Once you will revise, you will come able to remember. Just remember the performer, how you are going to do, how the patient will come, what are the tests we are going to do. Yes, in first year no one will explain you like this. Yes. In no book it is given like this. I also heard this from Marrow. I have heard this. Yes, Marrow app, Manisha Budiraja madam, and she explained this very well. You can see that when you come in the ENT year. But after hearing this, I came to know that if it was taught in this way in our first year, it would have been very nice, because we struggled a lot with these tests. Okay. So quickly wrapping up all these tests, what they want, are they having any doubts in this part? Should I repeat anything, or should I quickly, what is the time? It is not much time. I think tell the middle year quickly in 10 minutes. If they want middle year in 10 minutes, I will tell. Otherwise, we'll end up the session over here.
Two people are saying will stay. Yeah. There are equal
Two people you
responses
try,
of okay and no. Next class.
because next class, if we have other sessions also next class. Okay, I can do next session, but we have menstrual cycle, many things are there, many conceptual things are there. So okay, if you are tired, we'll do it the next session. So what the panelists say, I want to hear from panelists what they feel.
It's about it's up to the audience. Like we can stay, but it's up to you and the audience. If you are comfortable and the audience is comfortable, you can continue.
Next
Yeah,
Bodhi,
Arvaz, if you can just wrap it up in 10 minutes, it would be good, because it's a continuation of the topic, so it would be better retained. And
okay, I'll
from
wrap
the
it up
next
now.
session, we can start with another topic.
Sure, Hiba. Yes. So quickly we'll wrap it up, guys. Quickly we'll wrap it up. Nothing. Don't get saturated with this little information. Okay, don't get saturated. You have much more to read. Yes, this is our inner ear, middle ear, and all. Okay, 100 times I have drawn this diagram. Yes, this is our middle ear. Now, middle ear is like a box, six-sided box. It is a six-sided box. Now, all of us are sitting in a room now. How many walls are there in the room, including the roof and the floor? Can someone count and just put in the chat box? I want to know if somebody is living in a 7-sided room or 8-sided room or 3-sided room. I want to know that if those shapes exist. Yes. How many?
6-sided.
6-sided room. So imagine your room. Yes. 6-sided room. So imagine your room as the middle ear. Imagine like this. We are going in an imaginary world now. Now after this, I'll show some quick that also model also. Yes. Box. No. Imagine room. So in front of you there is wall. Is everyone having wall in front of you? In front of you, is everyone having wall? Yes, that's what that wall is your medial wall. Okay, that wall is your medial wall. Are you having a wall towards your left side? Yes, you may be having. That wall is your posterior wall, guys. That wall is your posterior wall. This is your medial wall. Okay, is everyone having a wall on your right side? I hope everyone is having. Yes, that is your anterior wall. Is everyone having a wall behind them? Yes, that is your lateral wall or the tympanic membrane. Yes. Is everyone having roof above your head, or you're sitting on the terrace? Yes. Okay, is everyone sitting in the room? Yes, that is the roof of the middle ear. Is everyone having floor, or you're standing in the air? Everyone is having floor. Yes. So that is your floor of the middle ear. That is a complete box. Now, let us see from here. This is the cranial fossa. From here we are entering. So this is the external ear. Here will be the middle ear. External auditory canal and all. Here is the middle ear. So this is the tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane is the lateral wall. Yes. You came here. From the lateral wall you came and enter inside the cavity. Now this is the medial wall of the middle ear, and behind the middle wall you'll have your inner ear. So you are here. You are facing the medial wall. So wall in front of you is the middle wall. This is the middle wall. Okay. I hope the orientation is clear. And behind the middle wall, the room beside this wall, the room behind this wall, that will be your inner ear. So this is the inner ear. Okay, the room behind the your piche wala wall, the wall which is behind you, and the room behind that will be your external auditory canal. Okay, is this orientation clear? Is everyone clear? Is the orientation? Let me see in the chat box.
Yes, Arbaz. Yeah, clear.
Yes, you are clear with the orientation. So wall by wall, we will discuss the structures of middle ear and inner ear. Okay, sorry, middle ear. Medial wall. First, medial wall. Medial wall. Remember this mnemonic: two holes, two bulges, one process, one process. Okay, what is this? Two holes, two bulges, one process. There will be two hole sections. What are those holes? Your oval window, round window, two holes over. Yes, two processes I told. What are the two processes? One big process, two bulges I told, two bulges. What is this? One big bulge over here, one small bulge over here, one small bulge over here, two bulges over. Now, what are these bulges? Bulge means something is pushing, something is pushing. If this is my ear, something is pushing from here, this will cause bulge. Yes. So for medial ear to have bulge, something should be pushing it from behind the medial ear. What is there? Inner ear. So something is pushing from the inner ear. So the inner ear will have cochlea. So cochlea ka basal turn of the 3 turns will be there for cochlea. 1.5 turn I think. Okay. So 2.5 I think. Okay. Any number of turn. So basal turn is causing bulge in the medial wall. So that is your promontory. Over. Yes. Now this bulge here will be your semicircular canals. So lateral semicircular canal is causing a bulge over here above the oval window. So that is your this thing. What is that? Bulge of the lateral semicircular canal. So two holes over, two bulges over. One process. So there will be one process called processus cochleariformis. What is that? Processus cochleariformis. So one here, the bony labyrinth of the cochlea will have one process over there, bony process that will cause bulge, and the basal turn of the cochlea will cause one bulge that is called process cochleari. Promontory. Yes. Is this clear? Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes, no, something you type.
Yes.
Now, your
Like
facial
yes.
nerve, how it is coming. Facial nerve, 100 questions are there. 100 questions are there on the relation of facial nerve. In every competitive examination, they are very keen to ask. They will tell lacrimation lost, salivation lost. So which part of the facial nerve is involved? Is it involved in the medial wall? Is it involved in the lateral wall? Is it the horizontal segment involved or the vertical segment? So that we can see in the facial nerve. But quickly I will tell you, from here, from brainstem, the facial nerve will come from pontomedullary junction. Here will be the geniculate ganglion, and how it is entering in the midbrain. In the middle ear, you see. This is the medial wall. Medial wall, there will be horizontal segment, and posterior wall, there will be vertical segment. Exactly like this will be your middle ear. So if this is my human being, from here it will come. If this is the medial ear, it will go like this, and posterior wall it will come like this. So if this is confusing, you don't remember like this. Okay. Is this clear? How the facial horizontal part of the facial nerve is in your medial wall. Lateral part of the vertical part is in your posterior wall. Now, what are the other things in the posterior wall? What are the other things in the posterior wall? You will have malleus stapes. I did not discuss, right? So malleus stapes important. 2 marks question, 3 marks question they will have. Malleus stapes. So I will draw malleus stapes. What?
Dushyant wants you to repeat the bulges.
Bulge they want me to repeat. Okay, I will repeat. First, listen to this thing. Malleus stapes. So this is the malleus, guys. This is the malleus. How I am drawing this malleus? Yes, this is the malleus. This is the malleus. So this is the tympanic membrane. So this process should be my lateral process because it is facing laterally towards the tympanic membrane. Okay, tympanic membrane. So this is my lateral process, and this is facing over here towards you. Yes, this is the anterior process. No, what is this? So it will be facing like this. It will be facing anteriorly. Okay, it will be the anterior process. Okay, now here will be the incus, malleus incus. This is the incus. Incus will have a process facing posteriorly called the facing posteriorly. This is the posterior wall, right? Posterior wall. This is called short process of incus. Okay, now here this will be attached to our stapes. This is the stapes. This is the anterior crura, this is the posterior crura, this is the foot plate of stapes. This is attached to the oval window. Somebody was asking otosclerosis, what is happening? This oval window of the this thing is sclerosed. That means collagen deposition over here, and foot plate is attached over there. So this is causing which hearing loss? Conducting or sensory neural? Conductive hearing loss. So this short process here, it is causing a bulge over here. Here, short process of the incus, fossa incudis it is called. It is causing a bulge. It is called fossa incudis. Fossa incudis. Okay, chorda tympani nerve. Does everyone know chorda tympani nerve? Chorda tympani nerve.
No.
Chorda tympani nerve.
Yes.
Yes, they know. Yes.
Branch of
they know.
facial.
Yes. Branch of
Facial
nerve.
nerve.
Yes, they are telling branch of facial. Very good. So this chorda tympani nerve, from which segment it is arising? Okay, your stapedial nerve will arise from here, guys. Nerve to stapedius. Nerve to stapedius will arise from the junction of horizontal and vertical segment. Okay. Okay. So nerve to stapedius. One nerve. Yes. Now cochlea, chorda tympani nerve, from where it will arise? After this exits our, this is the stylomastoid foramen, from where it will, our facial nerve will exit, and from there it will give 5 processes. What is that? Your all those yes, you can remember that. Yes. So this will be your chorda tympani nerve. Chorda tympani nerve. It will arrive from here. Arrive from here. Enter the middle ear. Enter the middle ear. Traverse the middle ear. Traverse the middle ear. Exit the middle ear to the anterior wall, goes anteriorly and supply the submandibular ganglion and the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, only the taste sensation. Is it clear? The course of chorda tympani nerve, very, very, very important. How it is coming? After the facial nerve exits the middle ear, it will, okay, somebody please share the feedback forms in the group and request them to fill the feedback forms. Yes, yes. So it will, the chorda tympani nerve will arise from which wall is this? Posterior wall. It will enter the posterior wall. It will enter the middle ear through the posterior wall. Okay. It will now traverse along the entire this thing between the malleus and incus. It will travel and exit from the anterior wall. Hope this is clear. This, any pathology of the middle ear will cause loss of sensation. Taste sensation. Okay, if it is involving your chorda tympani nerve. Is chorda tympani nerve clear? Yes, yes, this is the one I wanted to tell you. And one more bulge will be there over here, that is called sinus tympani, from where the stapedius will be attached over here. This is the oval window, right? From here stapedius will be there. This is the stapedius muscle, and this is the nerve to stapedius rising from the horizontal segment of the facial nerve. Hope this is clear. So 2 walls I have done. Other walls, they are not very much tough. Okay, anterior wall. Behind the posterior wall, we have the mastoid air cell system. What is the mastoid air cell system? There will be air cells. There will be septations inside, and there will be one big air cell. That big air cell is called mastoid antrum. Antrum it is called mastoid antrum. So here, yes. What is there? Anterior. This is the anterior wall. So anterior wall will have the structures THE. Mnemonic, you remember THE. What is H? H is Hugger's canal. Hugger's canal means the canal from which the chorda tympani nerve is exiting the anterior. E means eustachian tube. Eustachian tube is also exiting the anterior. I showed you in the model, right? From the anterior wall, it will exit the eustachian tube and go and attach to the nasopharynx behind your this thing. Okay. Yes. What is this now? This is your origin of the tensa tympani. This tensa tympani will come over here, take a turn at this processes cochlear formation attached to the handle of the malleus. Hope this everything is clear. Hope this everything is clear. So anterior wall is also over. Roof, nothing is there. There will be just one plate called tegmen tympani. Above that plate, what will be there? Your temporal lobe of the brain. So any pathology in the middle ear will cause abscess of the temporal lobe of the brain. Any pathology in the middle ear may also cause pathology in the mastoid air cell system, or mastoiditis it is called. Yes. What is the floor now? Floor, and anterior to the posterior to the middle ear, posterior wall, we had the mastoid process. Anterior to the anterior wall, we have the internal carotid artery. Internal carotid artery. Yes, yes. So floor, what will be there? Floor, nothing much in the floor. So there will be one canal for entry of the Jacobson's nerve. What is the Jacobson's nerve? If you want, I can tell. I can tell all the parasympathetic ganglia. In next class, I will tell 4 parasympathetic ganglia. Exhaustive it is becoming. So you can just remember in the floor, there will be one nerve called as Jacobson's nerve, which will come, and on the promontory, it will form one plexus called tympanic plexus. This Jacobson's nerve is a branch of your glossopharyngeal nerve, or the 9th nerve. And from this Jacobson's nerve, it will go and give the this thing to the otic ganglion. From otic ganglion, it will go towards your lacrimal salivatory gland, lacrimal tear gland. No, it will go to the parotid gland. Okay, it will go to the parotid gland and cause your salivation. Hope this entire middle ear was clear. Yes, it is clear. What else I have to tell you? I hope I told everything. Yes, I told everything. Whatever is required for your ears, I told everything. And relation of the mid floor, I did not tell. Relation of the posterior wall, I tell. Relation of the anterior wall, I tell. Anteriorly, internal carotid. Posteriorly, mastoid air system. Superior also middle temporal lobe. And floor, what we have beneath the floor, we have jugular bulb. Jugular bulb will be there. Sigmoid sinus is entering jugular bulb. All the structures that are exiting your jugular foramen, your 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve, along with your jugular bulb of your internal jugular vein. So quickly, I will wrap up this video wala thing, and I'll show you some model. In model, I will show. Okay. So it has become exhaustive. We will see if there are some good sections. Relations, I think I can show here.
As in the end or now, if you can, they want you to repeat the bulges.
Okay, I will. So this is our internal carotid artery arising from your common carotid artery. Common carotid artery is a branch of your arch of aorta. All of us know this. Yes. This is your internal carotid artery. This is your this thing. Sorry, that was common carotid, internal carotid, and this is external carotid. Now your external carotid is going above. It will have 3 arteries in anterior, 1 artery in the medial, that is your ascending pharyngeal artery, and 1 artery in your posterior. What is that? What is the posterior artery? This is the posterior artery, occipital artery. Okay. So what is this artery? This is your posterior auricular artery. Okay. So what is this now? This is your superficial temporal artery. Superficial temporal artery, and this is your maxillary artery. So this is your maxillary artery. Where is maxillary? Here will be your maxillary artery. So external carotid artery branches, I'm telling you, external artery branches. From maxillary artery, you will have middle meningeal artery arising. I think it is not visible over here. Leave it. Don't go to external carotid. Come to internal carotid. This is internal carotid. Yes. Can you see it is lying in front of your middle ear? I hope you can see this. Yes, it is lying in front of the middle ear. That only I wanted to tell. This is anterior wall of the middle ear, from where the eustachian tube is arising, and your external carotid artery, internal carotid artery is in front of the middle ear. So anterior relation is your internal carotid artery. Yes. What more I can show? Yeah, I think I cannot show anything else. Yes. What is there? Nothing is there. Yes. So they want. What else I could have shown? Ossicles दिखते कि नहीं दिखते? एक second. Ear बोल के मार के देखेंगे search में. If we can see some ossicles, we will see. Ear. This is organ of Corti. Yes, ossicles are there. See here. Yes, see. So this is your external ear, external auditory canal. This is your tympanic membrane. And tympanic membrane structure, this is 3-layered structure and all, you can read from there. So this is your tensor tympani. It is arising from the anterior wall. Can you see? Yes, anterior wall. Yes. So this is the malleus. This is the head of the malleus. Yes, this is the neck of the malleus. This is the lateral process. This is the, sorry, this is the anterior process. This is the lateral process. This is the handle of the malleus attached to the umbo of the tympanic membrane. Yes. So this is the chorda tympani nerve. I told you it is coming from the posterior wall and coming, traversing in between the incus and malleus in between. Yes, I told you all that. Yes, this is the incus. This is the incus. Yes, this is the stapes. This is the anterior crura. This is the posterior crura. This is the posterior crura. This is the foot plate. This is the oval window over here. Yes, all that. This is the vestibular system, vestibular apparatus. This is the semicircular canal. So this is the lateral semicircular canal. It is going to cause a bulge on the medial wall. Yes, we all. This is the basal turn of the cochlea. So it is causing a bulge in the medial wall. That is called as the promontory. So there are nerves exiting from the vestibular apparatus. These are called as vestibular part of your vestibulocochlear nerve. There are nerves entering from the exiting from the cochlea. These are called as the cochlear part of the vestibulocochlear nerve. So both of the nerve will go simultaneously in the form of vestibulocochlear nerve, the eighth nerve. So you can see the facial nerve entering. So horizontal segment is lying in the medial wall. So this is the medial wall, right? And the vertical segment is lying in the our posterior wall. So all that you have seen, this is your internal carotid artery in the anterior wall and all. Okay, no need. What else I can show here? One more thing I wanted to show here is, it is not appreciable. This is a model, but you can appreciate tympanic membrane is larger than the malleus. Your malleus is larger than your incus. Incus is larger than your stapes. So there's, because of force transmission, there is amplification of sound, and your hearing is preserved. Hearing is good in the ear conduction. So I think that is clear. So okay. So larynx also, I have all the muscles and all. I'm going to take a session on the larynx. Okay, then we will see the all the sections, how is their vocal cords and all, what are the membranes, the cartilages. Okay, all we will see what are the functions of each muscles, what are the tensors of the larynx, what are the abductors, what are the this thing and all we will see. Okay, so let us not go there. Okay, so anyone wanted to say repeat anything, right? So I think we can end the session. Please give feedback. Please go, all members, please give feedback. It is not good that you are attending the session and just the feedback you are not giving. Please. Yes. What they want, any doubt, panelists? Now I can address the doubts.
Once sum up the test, it seems.
Sum up the test. Surely I will do if you want to sum up. Yes, if you want me to sum up the test, because that I know that is a difficult topic to understand. I know.
Again, bulges, it seems.
कौन है जी वो bulges के पीछे पड़े? Okay, एक second. See, whoever want that bulge, this is your medial wall of the medulla. This is your posterior wall. This is the anterior wall. Behind the medial wall, what you will have? Inner ear. So inner ear, there will be this thing, cochlea. This is cochlea. This is your vestibular apparatus, and this is the lateral anterior semicircular canals. So I told you two bulges, two openings, and all those things I told. So this bulge is causing a bulge over here. That is known as your promontory, and this is causing a bulge over here. That is known as bulge of the lateral semicircular canals. That bulges are due to some structures pressing the medial wall from the inner ear. I hope this is clear. Anyone, whoever wanted that bulges, is it clear or should I repeat? Here there will be one bulge because of processes, this short process,
Yes.
that is known as Mesa increase. Is it clear? Are you happy with the bulges? Yes.
Yeah, they're clear with the bulges, Arbaz. They want you to quickly sum up the tests.
Okay, everyone stay because I'll quickly sum up the these things. Hearing test. So patient came with hearing loss. In the left ear. So you want to know whether it is conductive hearing loss or sensory neural hearing loss. So you did Rennie's test. Rennie's test was comparing ear conduction with the bone conduction. So normally ear conduction should be greater than bone conduction. So you got a positive Rennie's. So you can come to conclusion that it is a normal ear. But we know that sensory neural hearing loss will also have normal Rennie's because amplified sound is reaching the inner ear. Yes, we know this. So how to differentiate whether it is a normal ear or sensory neural hearing loss? We have to do the Weber's test. We have to keep the tuning fork over here, and we have to see the lateralization. If it is not lateralizing, it is a normal ear. normal ear. No, not lateralizing. If it is lateralizing towards this right ear, pathology was in left ear, it is lateralizing towards the right ear. That means this left ear is not able to hear properly. That means there is sensory neural hearing loss in the left ear. Sensory neural hearing loss in the left ear. Now, third thing you will do the absolute bone conduction test and the Swabax test. Swabax test, though all length and not length and comparing and all you will do. So what you wanted to do from this tuning fork test, you wanted to know whether it is sensory neural or conductive. Successfully you came to know. Yes. Similarly, you have to do for the other ear also. Now let us see for conductive hearing loss what will happen if patient is coming, another patient is coming with hearing loss in the left ear, hearing loss in the right ear. Let us say this is the right ear, hearing loss. Okay, you did the Rennies, you did. What happened? Air conduction is less than bone conduction. Air conduction is less than bone conduction. That means bone conduction is more. Bone conduction is more. Why bone conduction is more? My air conduction is less. Why it is less? There is some pathology which is obstructing the air to go inside. Yes, there should be obstructive loss. Conductive hearing loss. Conductive hearing loss. Yes. Now you have come to know. Then now you'll do Weber's test. Where should the Weber's lateralize? Towards the same ear it should lateralize. So Weber's test is also confirming that it is a conducting hearing loss. Yes. So I've summarized this. So Swabax test, absolute bone conduct test is also there that you can do. After knowing if it is conductive hearing loss, what you will do. If it's sensory neural hearing loss, what you will do. You have successfully done that. After this, you will do where the conduction is. Where. So you have to otoscopy and all I told, middle ear tympanogram and all I told you. Sensory neural hearing loss, you have to do that autoacoustic emission and all. Yes, all that you have to do. And for neural, you have to do one test. What is that test? I'm forgetting the name of that test. Yes, that is electrocochleography. Electrocochleography means in electrical impulses inside the brain, inside the nerve. They will ask this in Viva. Electrocochleography is for neural hearing loss. And then for brainstem, if there is brainstem stroke, there is BERA. What is BERA? Brainstem evoked response potential. You are noting if there is any pathology in the brainstem. I hope this was clear. Yes, was this clear? Everything? Anything you want me to repeat or any extra things you want me to tell here. I can spare more 10 to 15 minutes for you.
It's clear, it seems, Arbaz.
Yes. Other people, if they want to leave, and please fill the feedback forms. And anyone who wants any other thing, any topic to be clarified, stay and ask. We'll be there for another 10 minutes in this session. I will close the recording.
Why anterior wall is actually named median?